the Browns need something offensively. Take a look at this. They have struggled to score points. This is how many times since 2021 they have been held to 21 points or less. Um, in 2021, 9 games under 21 points. 2022, 8 games under 21 points. 2023, 9 games under 21 points. That includes the playoffs. And then 2024, 14 games under 21 points. With a young or NFL average quarterback, you're going to need a lot of pieces to surround them to have success. Here's what the Browns have as of now, and it's not great. Kenny Pickett's the quarterback. Ford and Pierre Strong are the running backs who have any really NFL experience. You've got Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Bell. You could throw Jamari Thrash in there, but he hasn't done a lot in the regular season. David Njoku. Bottom line is, man, where are you going to find points? And there's a lot of areas that need an infusion of talent in that skill room, the skill position guys.
Yeah. No, it's a reason why I think, listen, I think Abdul Carter is going to be a really good football player in the NFL. I don't have much a doubt of that. I just have a hard time envisioning how they're going about the top of the draft, passing on either a quarterback, which that's fine. Jimmy Haslam spoke about this yesterday. I'm sure you guys covered it. The desire to take a quarterback is not something that they're pressing on this group because they still want to remain patient and not force a decision similar to how they forced the Deshaun Watson thing. But you can't ignore the fact you were at one of the NFL's worst offenses in the last 15 years last year. And if you backtrack it, totally understanding that 22 had a slew of injuries to Baker Mayfield. Or sorry, excuse me, 21 had the Mayfield injuries that cost him the season. Essentially, the shoulder was really prohibitive for him. 22 was a suspended Deshaun Watson season. And then when Watson came back, it was really, really rusty. And then in 20, obviously in 23, they dealt with all of his injuries and tried to piece it together with fifth string tackles and, quarterback rotation until Joe Flacco sort of stabilized things. But this is a pattern that is really concerning. And to the point of what you put up on the screen, they need investments in this offense to get better. Free agency wasn't going to provide many of those answers. And you look at the draft, though, you do feel like, I think if you're looking at it right now, I've been on this train for a couple months, that Travis Hunter makes the most logical sense for them because I think he's a very dynamic receiver. And in the worst case scenario, and this is loosely labeling it worst case scenario, if he's just more predominantly a cornerback, that's not a position that you're in a rough spot to select because Denzel Ward is really, really good, one of the NFL's best, but has got a problem with concussions, we all know, and obviously has dealt with some of his own injury issues, soft tissue stuff that's come up, missed some games here and there. Martin Emerson took steps back, we know, and then obviously Greg Newsome's maybe here for another year. So it's like it's two positions that the Browns need more than pass rush. A pass rush is something that they've been actually able to find really adequately on the low end free agent market or the low end trade market, and they've drafted that position fairly well in the middle late rounds, finding answers like Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire. So like I'm looking at offense, like I'm almost borderline willing to spend every pick there. If you really like Colston Loveland at pick 33, or you want to take a swing on Jalen Milroe, you could use another offensive tackle. I know that wasn't even in the listing there, but it's why Hunter makes the most sense at 2 if you're not in love with Shador Sanders or Cam Ward doesn't fall, right? So that's the thing that makes the most sense to me. You need 2 running backs in this draft, whether you're drafting one and going after a UDFA later on, because I think this is a historically good running back class that has a lot of depth to it. The same with tight end. So there are chances to solve these things in the draft. It's hard to bank on that because you can never really bank on young NFL players to come in and make impacts. But I do think that some things will happen after the draft. I think Nick's situation, Chubb's situation is probably a post-draft. Who didn't get the running backs they were most interested in? If Cleveland doesn't get a second one they feel really good about in that draft or in the UDFA free bid scenario, then there's probably a world where Nick comes back and they give him that veteran laden contract that allows the Browns to pay him a little bit more than everybody else does, but it doesn't hinder the cap in the same way. So I think there's some pathways to getting those names to look a little better for us. I do think it involves taking some young quarterback at some point. I know we're going to talk about more of them. So that will probably be an addition. I think a running back of serious nature will be an addition in a very, very deep class. And then I'm looking at Travis Hunter and some other wide receivers, and I certainly am interested in a tight end in the middle of the draft as well, who I think, again, that's another deep position in this one. So it is very fairly bleak right now, but they do have ample opportunity to add to some of those positions to improve the general talent.